Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Joy Asonye Live this beautiful evening here on KAFTAN television. We're going to be discussing something that a lot of Nigerians are worried about and talking about. That is the Sudan crisis and analyzing Nigeria's rescue effort. Coming over 2 weeks after fighting erupted in Sudan between the Sudanese army and the paramilitary rapid support forces, and over 400 people killed with at least 3,500 injured, Nigerians have cried out over the slow pace of the rescue mission by the federal government in evacuating citizens trapped in the country. How can we get our people out of there quickly? That's what we'll be discussing. And my guest in the studio is Rekiya Ahmedu. She's a foreign affairs expert. So good to have you join us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll go for a short break now and return to discuss more. This is still Joy Asonye Live. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Like I said earlier, we're discussing the Sudan crisis and the Nigeria's rescue effort. And Rekiya Ahmedu is right here with us. She's a foreign affairs expert. Again, thank you so much for being part of the program.
Thank you.
Yes. First of all,
being here.
Okay, it's my pleasure too to have you, Rekiya. So let's go to what's happening in Sudan at the moment. I mean, Nigerians are crying out. How can we get our people out of there? And it's even more dire situation when the federal government announces that we have as much as 7 million Nigerians in Sudan. Do you agree with that number by the Foreign Affairs?
Yeah, we have officially 7 million.
Officially.
People
who have naturalized over the years.
Yeah, of origin, Nigerian descent. There are more than 7 million, but officially we can stop at 7 million. Yeah.
Is this because people are leaving our country to seek greener pastures, or is just that inherent need in humans to travel?
No. If you check Nigeria-Sudan history, you are going to see a connection between the two countries right from the onset. We have a bond in religion, that is Islam. Then we have cultural similarities. Over the years, Nigerians that traveled to Saudi Arabia for Hajj, in the olden days, when they even go by road, the first point of call is Sudan. So they move from Nigeria to Sudan. They spend years there, be able to connect to Saudi Arabia. So some of them, in the process of doing so, some could not move further. They settle in Sudan and get married to the locals and have children. So those children plus themselves are Nigerian descent.
Exactly.
Equally, the ones that return from Saudi Arabia, some of them may not be able to make it back home. They settle back in Sudan. So Sudan has been a point of departure and a point of return for Nigerians going on Hajj. And you know the number of Muslims in the far north.
Exactly.
So in as much as they continue to have the interest in the religion Islam, the major interest will be on Hajj, because it's a major pillar of Islam. So everybody wants to have that done once in a lifetime, and so doing, we have our people passing and crossing through Sudan and settling equally in Sudan.
Let's talk about those who have traveled to school.
We have students who travel on their own from here, arranged by their parents. But this particular set is yes.
But
they are the ones that
who find Sudan a good location to school. For some of us who are a little, I've not traveled to Sudan before.
So you believe Sudan
is with what we've been seeing in the media, or very often we like to think Nigeria has better living standards. So
that is not true.
Wow.
Yeah, because Sudan had a university a century before Nigeria.
Half a century
before Nigeria. In the colonial days, I can remember a school called Gordon College was established by the British colony in 1902.
Wow.
1902. That was long before Nigeria's own was conceived in 1934. So you remember we have a law school in Nigeria by northern in Kano,
right?
That is now BUK.
Yes.
So the idea that was used in establishing that particular university in Kano, law school in Kano, was borrowed from Sudan. Yes. So Sudan have gone a very long way in education long before Nigeria came on board. So you cannot say our people going there is an error.
Yeah, well, but
remember, Lamido, Sanusi Lamido,
yes,
schooled in Sudan. He got his master's degree in Sudan. His training on Islamic banking, he came to use it. He's one of the most celebrated civil servants in Nigeria today. He got all the experience and the training from Sudan. So you can't tell, if you check record, you're going to see that Sudan may sound or may look the way we think. But in all honesty,
right,
in reality, Sudan educationally are stronger than us.
Wow. Well, that's
apart from being old in it, they have a very systematic approach that does not fail. Does not fail the system. Anybody appointed is inclined, is serious, and put in their best to make sure they establish structures that stand the test of time. All the schools that people go to, I've not been to Sudan, but I have a lot of friends and families that have school in Sudan. I serve in other parts of Africa that equally travel a lot. I serve in Central Africa, for instance. Almost all the citizens send their children to Sudan for education. So it's as good as London in Africa.
In Africa.
Yeah.
And to think, I was thinking Nigeria was the good one as London in Africa.
We can be London in size, we can be London in our natural endowment, in our size. But in reality, we have people that are more serious than us.
So when we see what's going on in Sudan, we're having a serious part also that is resulting and culminating to what we're seeing right now, where people are dying and there's a war, there's unrest. There are a lot of people who are cut off from electricity, food, and water. What does it tell you about Africa and democracy?
Yeah, democracy is, in fact, what's supposed to be sustained in Africa. But we have these other elements in between that are feeling very uncomfortable with democracy. So each time they see a democracy trying to flourish, thrive, they will come up and disrupt it. That is what has happened in Sudan. They both fashion that put us together to remove al-Bashir were not able to define their own formula, the sharing formula or the control formula, and the fallout of it is what we are having today. The crisis in Sudan is as a result of personal interest between the Burhan group and the RSF Hamdan, what is his name again? Hamdan Dagalo group. So since they were not able to agree on the sharing formula, the thing erupted, and naturally it's not only Nigerians that will be trapped in that place.
Of course, there are nationals,
other nationals world over, including those developed countries that you think of.
I read a report that over 700,000 Britons.
They love that Sudan because they have a very unique climate, just as Nigeria have a unique environment. You know, Nigeria is a very lovely country.
I agree with you.
It's a very lovely country. All we just need is just one or two leadership, devoted leaders that will just put in place all that matters to make
we would be thriving.
And we'll be thriving. And thanking God, we are having Jagaban of Africa coming. Let's believe he will do the new hope. Let's believe he will do the magic.
Right.
Because this country, I've been to several countries. What God has blessed us with, all we need just to put it to action.
Ajay, you were talking in parables there when you say that there are some people who do not like countries to have democracy, and they
I'm talking
I want to go to
military,
right?
And
not necessarily the foreign, because there's been the conspiracy of foreign hands in ensuring that.
In fact, there's no country in this world, in the whole world, that those foreign powers will not manipulate.
Right.
They are manipulating the whole Africa. You know, Africa is their own heaven. Our natural and human resources is a threat to the developed world. What do they have? They have snow. Do they have the soil to have agriculture? Do they have the human resources? Do they have the brain? Do they have the steadfastness? They just have the brain more than us, and they have the commitment more than us. That's all. We have every other thing. The natural resources, the human resources, everything we have. But for them to be able to take from us, they have to confuse us.
They have to confuse us.
They have to confuse us.
Would it be easy to ask you right now to take arms against your sister or your brother?
They will not come out directly to tell you to take arms. They will only tell you where your rights are being infringed upon. They will call you aside and say, see, this is happening to you in your own country. Why do you allow it? Are they telling you to take arms? They are only making you to realize that you have been cheated by someone. And if you have been cheated, what next? You
will want to retrieve the power that you think you is taken away from you. What makes us constantly susceptible to this? Yeah, if we have, like you said, we have the resources, we have the human capital, we have all that it takes to run ourselves and develop to enviable heights. Why are we still susceptible and find ourselves subservient to these external factors or powers?
You see, what has happened to us is from the Genesis. You remember slave trade? How did it happen?
Of course, they came in here to first of all trade, and then you see the liberation. So in quotes, liberation.
That is what they call it,
right.
And that is how we are. That is where we are up to now. They finish with the physical slavery, and it's now mental slavery. That's where we are now. It's a mental situation. They are not telling you, come, let me enslave you anymore, or come, let me liberate you in a disguise. They are now going to influence your thinking, your way of life. They will make sure they confuse you from the ordinary way of your thinking to their own way of thinking, making sure that you look at what is positive, supposed to be positive in your own environment, to now become negative to you, and they ask you to go and fight for your right. You agree to go and fight for your right, which ordinarily that they are going to make you do is the negative.
Yes, but let's move away from Sudan for a minute, and because I'm really finding this very interesting. Before the elections and a bit after the elections, the general elections, we saw political actors using words that could be very divisive and basically heating up the polity, if you ask me. Would you say this comes from those external forces as well, because, or is just the interest of taking power?
Naturally, the foreign powers are influencing us regularly because of their interests. True of us.
Well, you will tell me, my resources.
That is true. It's interest. They're interested in our resources, and before they can take it, they just have to confuse us to believe in what they bring. It's the same thing they are doing to our politicians. Our politicians run to them. Can you tell me any of our leaders that want to contest for any elective post without running to them?
I've not seen one, sadly.
All of them must go there. What are they looking for? See, the best we have gotten in the country, if you ask me, is an Abacha who refused any relation with any foreign power. You remember?
Exactly.
And he became the worst to us.
But see how he passed.
See, the way he passed is because of the same power.
That's okay. It's the same power in your way.
The same power as in my own understanding. Yes, because he refused to. They say they are going to sanction us. Say, go ahead. We have our food, we have our oil, we have everything it takes to live as a nation. And he started refining almost everything within here.
In country.
Closing almost all borders, and we're complaining. They will tell us that he was enslaving us, but he was trying to liberate us. And that is the only power I have seen as I grow up as a person. since I grew up.
The only person who stood against all of that
against all these
influence.
powers,
Right.
all this influence, and the rest are ready to work, but because you want to be, according to Babangida, say a little to the right,
A little to the left.
and suddenly they will see that you do that you're little. So I believe in the renewed hope, because I know this man Jagaban understand the business of these foreign powers. I know that he understands what they are looking for, and he's going to know. Remember one statement he made. He said we have our gas, and we just have to have our gas within our country. Then he said, but I'm going for an election so that they will not go and
Twice.
So he stopped there. That is his very simple message, that when he gets there, we are going to be able to do our things
Our way.
Our way.
So how would you get the psyche? Because you just mentioned earlier that it's no longer the colonialism that comes from having the colonies rule us. It's now mental. And if Jagaban is trying, like you say, his intentions are to ensure that those foreign powers have limited influence, and Nigerians still run there, because I see that every time there is anything in Nigeria, civil society organizations write to the UK embassies, to the US embassies. We keep writing like that.
We try as much as possible to maintain our relationship with our colonial masters,
right,
which is Britain, and we need to do that to safeguard ourselves. Remember, we are not as powerful as they are in terms of, we are strong in military, but we are trained by who?
Of course, the same colonial masters.
So we just need to be careful. We are not producing any, we don't have any nuclear power, we don't have the weapons they have. We equally still need to exercise restraint in dealing with them.
Right.
So that is why, anyhow we try to live on our own, we still need some percentage of interaction. We cannot cut them off.
But I'm not talking about cutting them off completely. There should be diplomatic ties. But I'm asking for that mental influence. Like you said,
the moment you are aware that somebody is influencing you mentally. I'll give you an example of a friend. I had him understood this morning that you should remember my age anytime you're talking to me, because he has been trying to influence me mentally on an issue,
right?
And I believe I'm mature enough to take the decision. Yes, so I don't need your influence. So the moment you are aware that somebody is trying to influence you, that is what I've seen in Jagaban. He knows that we are being influenced mentally. That's what I've seen.
Right.
So since he's aware, there is a way out already.
Every time there's a coup in Africa, every time there's a fight, they puncture and they finger external forces. But how can we in Africa, not just Nigeria now, we have the Jagaban, which you say in your words, you are very confident, understands the terrain, understands what's going on, and is going to set the limit as to what extent the influence happens. However, in Africa, holistically, especially in those pockets of African countries that have resources that a lot of are interested in, how can we protect the entire African states so that we don't see these coups, we embrace democracy? Because it's also, some may say that these African leaders are just as greedy or wants to amass wealth for themselves, and that is why it makes the place constantly volatile.
You are very correct. We have a lot that are interested in amassing property or wealth to themselves, but just a little, one or two of them that are committed. But the problem we have in Africa, I don't think there will be a time for now in our generation. There will be a time that all Africans will be free of this for now.
Okay. Because
we are struggling as the giant. We are the giant. We're still struggling.
You still call us giant?
We are giant.
Because of the numbers? I think that's the only thing we celebrate.
No, it's not that we have everything. The only thing we lack is commitment. And some people are coming up.
Right.
Leadership, commitment, devotion. And people are coming up. I can see it. I'm having a dream already.
Right.
That will be very near future we'll get there.
I want to share in your optimism.
I'm so optimistic.
You're telling me I can feed off your optimism that
because I've interacted with so closely with so much among the people coming on board. I've interacted. I can tell you of one very important person. I don't want to mention names, so they will come. They will say I'm coming here to promote somebody. I'll keep the name to myself. But when that time comes, I'll tell you that is the person I meant.
Right.
So Jagaban believes in working with talented persons. So, and I believe in this country we have the Igbos, the Yorubas, the Hausas, the Igalas, the other tribes that you don't even know their names that are talented and who are ready right now. In fact, they are ready to offer themselves for free service. Do you understand that?
Right.
People are ready to return from the diaspora to come and serve this country well, to move this country to the greater height. You see, when you see committed persons coming, you are sure the country is ready to change.
True. However, he also has out of the 25 million people that voted, he also has several others that didn't vote for him, that did not support him, and are in court at the moment. So are you seeing also a seamless government, not one that is characterized by several court sittings? At the moment, there are several people who are unable to even call him, mention him, or refer to him rather as the president-elect, because they believe the court might upturn the
but you know, this is Nigeria. Until that is done, he still remain the president-elect until the court upturn whatever. But remember, Atiku has been in court. Buhari has finished 8 years.
Exactly.
So
that's a below the belt kind. That's a below the belt statement to Atiku right there. But do you think this court
remember in Nigeria, before you go to court, you are supposed to have your evidence fully arranged. But in our system, they will go to court first. They go before they go back for evidence.
Is that it by implication that the opposition that is in court,
they are not always ready
at this moment? I'm talking about now. I mean, we have a limited time stipulated by the Electoral Act. Do you think that at this moment
are they ready?
They are ready. I'm asking you. That very often you see them go to court.
They are not always ready, because they just make accusation without evidence. So when they get to court, those ABC happen. They bring your evidence. That is when they are going back. And with the short
instance, really, I would like to know if you can be specific with the instance.
Anyway, I remember. I'm not going to go too much in detail about politics.
Okay, so at this moment, I would like us to take the conversation back to our nationals, our citizens who are still trapped, especially those students. 5,500 are earmarked by the Diaspora Commission to be evacuated, and yet we are seeing
5 and students.
Yes, 500 students. Yes. So how do you what do you think? I mean, we have also read about planes being shot down, planes that attempt to fly out of the country being gunned down. That's quite dangerous. And recently it was announced that the president has released $1.2 million for the evacuation. That's hiring about 40 buses, and Nigerians have gone screaming. 1.2 million for 40 buses. So what's your thought on that?
Yeah, Nigerians are always screaming over exchange rate. That is the problem of exchange. Remember, if you are hiring a bus in Nigeria, it's different from hiring a bus across the border. When you cross the border, you are dealing with another currency. So you cannot compare what you do in the country to what you are going to do internationally.
Right.
So any amount that is quoted there, they would have gone for the survey. They would have seen the reality on ground. So you and I cannot stay here and fault it until you get there.
Of course, that's until we get there. But
yeah, while I was in their position in the past when I wasn't in foreign affairs. When I hear anything, exchange of currency, something of 1,000, you're telling me is 700 until I got to Trinidad and Tobago. I bought 1 yam for $100.
$100.
So how much is that in naira? 1 yam tuber.
1 tuber of yam.
Yes, tell me how much is that in naira. $100 is 700 and something. That is about 7,000 something for 70 something thousand for a tuber of yam.
Wow.
So, and I was happy to buy because I even happened to see it. Ordinarily, when I see yam, that is once in a very long while to see it again. So any amount you call it, I will buy. A tuber of cassava, $30. So when you convert it to our currency, what are you talking about? So we keep screaming for nothing. When you send auditor there, they are going to see that they actually pay this money. So that is the situation.
Okay, we're still discussing the Sudan crisis, analyzing Nigeria's rescue efforts, but it's time to go for a short break right now. We'll return to discuss more. We still have Rekiya. I hope I'm getting that right.
Rekiya,
I apologize. Rekiya Ibrahim Ahmedu with us here in the studio. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is still Joy Asonye Live, where we've been discussing Sudan crisis and analyzing Nigeria's rescue efforts. I mean, the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, as well as the Nigerian mission in Sudan, have been trying and doing so much to get our people out of there. An effort that a lot of Nigerians have criticized, and we've not seen much from there, especially when we do get to speak with our brothers and sisters who talk about the dire situations in Sudan at the moment. Again, we have Rekiya Ibrahim Ahmedu. She's a foreign affairs expert who is telling us how the situations can indeed go. But at this moment, Ajia, I would like you to tell us the readiness of Nigeria when it comes to these rescue missions at all times. Are we constantly ready, or it is only when there is xenophobia in South Africa that we scamper around? We have a policy that rescues our people out of distress areas.
Yes. You know, as Nigerians, when we have issues, our people believe that you can take decisions just as a person.
Right.
There is a problem we are having. The natural situation is that government business is run differently. You are talking of country versus another country. No matter how ready you are, the issue you are not handling is different from the issues that happened yesterday.
Exactly.
Right now, what is happening in Sudan is different from apartheid.
Exactly.
You see? So these are two friends that did coup together to topple somebody, and now they could not agree. They came up with what they are doing now. So if Nigeria want to rescue our people in a haste as we think, you are going to endanger the lives of these people too. You are having two factions there now, the Hamda and the Boha.
Yes.
Go. So if you are able to appease the Hamda and you have clearance from Hamda,
and you don't get
clearance from the Boha, how do you go? Are you from Sudan? So the people that are going to move them away from Sudan are Nigerians. But
of course.
So you need clearance from the Sudanese, both faction, to be able to do so. So if they get clearance from one side, the other side must equally give the clearance. So they can't jump into action the way our people think. Okay, they can jump into action by providing the finance. They can provide the people from Cairo, our embassy in Cairo. Our embassy in Sudan will be ready to liaise with Cairo and Ethiopia. This is what government can do immediately. But the other ones that need diplomatic procedure, in order not to cause diplomatic rupture for the country, whoever survive among these two factions, if you go against them, that will lead to diplomatic rupture if you don't give them their due respect. So you just have to go through the one faction successfully, go through the second, and make sure your people are not going to lose life in the process of trying to rescue lives.
Right. Now, as
that takes step and stages, people begin to complain that we are delaying or people are not responding as fast as possible. We just need time to do some of these things. I was there before, so I know what it means.
Okay, so as giants of Africa, a lot of people have said that it is within our powers to foster peace and a ceasefire in such situations across Africa. Do you think we're doing enough, or when it comes to peace, and what is the African Union doing in this dire situation where people are complaining of being cut off access to food, access to water? I can only imagine such a situation. So what do you think Nigeria is doing right now to foster peace, and the African Union?
You and I already know the role of Nigeria in peacekeeping in Africa. We have been doing meticulously, marvelously well, but you know, you can have some stubborn situation. You are doing your best as if you are doing nothing. That's it. So peace can only be fostered when the two parties are ready to listen to you. You are trying your best, you are making meetings, you are taking decisions. You don't know when they obey you. So you can take it. Remember that Nigeria is trying to take opportunity of 3 days ceasefire to quickly evacuate our people. Yes. It is something within their control. They are trying to control, but have they been obeyed? So they obey for ceasefire for this period, and let's see what is going to come out. They are trying. Nigeria is trying in peacekeeping. We spend so much in Africa, yes, trying to keep peace, but you know, you can force a horse to the river. Can you force it to drink water?
Of course not.
So this is, at times people look at us as if we are not doing anything. We are actually trying. As the saying goes, chicken also have sweats a lot, but because of the fact that you don't see it, you can see it. So Nigeria is trying a lot, but because of the situation we have on hand in Africa, we have some stubborn
brothers and sisters. Right, but in this instance, is there any pointer to the fact that Nigeria has tried to reach out?
Nigeria is reaching out, and because I am not on that seat right now, I can't tell you this is what they have done. The ABC that have been done, I'm not supposed to point it out here. Okay,
but let's talk about the influence that the African Union now has. We should expect that as the umbrella body for all of us, we would see a more robust effort in terms of peacekeeping. I mean, when we have coups in the 21st century still in Africa, it's disheartening. So do you think African Union still exerts the influence it should around African countries?
If, just as I said earlier, we have some stubborn brothers in Africa still. If not, an agreement was reached for all African and all members of AU not to embark on coup anymore. Come to table for dialogue, whatever trouble you have. It can be discussed, it can be resolved. That has been the agreement. The agreement is still there in place. Why did they get to this? If not that African thing. So a lot have been said, a lot have been arranged, a lot have been agreed upon, and they still went ahead to violate and come up with what is going on. So I believe what is coming up next is going to be more serious than before. Sanctions will come up against anybody, and that sanction is going to be tougher. When I think what the sanctions they have been getting in Africa have been so moderate, to the extent that they ignore.
Exactly.
They believe they can do without. But what is coming in future is going to be tougher than what they used to know. So anybody that tried this in future will have himself to blame.
After the 2011 referendum when South Sudan gained independence, so we thought there would be sanity, you know, and this need for a movement or separation from the country was because of sentiments that Nigerians are facing, religious sentiment, ethnic sentiment. So when you put what's going on in Sudan right now, and where you often hear Nigerians in the country talk about a separation from Nigeria and that's the secession.
And there's no solution in Sudan.
Exactly. Now my question would be,
we are both together and we are beautiful people. In our diversity we can make the difference. We don't need to. You have seen it as example by yourself in Sudan. Did they have peace despite the separation? They have this. Yet no peace. We've been living together as one, and we can make it better. Just a matter of putting heads together, dialogue, and agree on what we want for the country, and we move forward.
How can we put heads together?
It's coming.
You still refer me back to the renewed hope as he was just emergence when he becomes president. But I would like to know, I mean, I read through his action plan, his blueprint, where he talked about economic. He believes that when he works on the economic realities of Nigeria, there will be no need to even talk about ethnicity. If government works, you won't even remember that this person is
that is true.
Exactly.
You and I know that it's true. If I need a car and I'm very sure I'll get it from the east, if you need food, you are sure you are getting it from the north. So the northern are supplying you what you need, and you are supplying me what I need, and we are both living together in harmony, transacting this business without infringing on each other's right. Beautifully, we are living together. Yeah. This country is going to be beautiful. In fact, America of our time is coming.
America of our time. How can we hold people like you accountable? Should we see a different? If we see the Nigeria,
I'm going to be part of the decision makers.
I want you to be part of the decision makers. I want to be able to come to your office and say, I promise this, and this office is going to be a great cover of our dream.
That I hope and I believe it will happen. I don't know. I'm so optimistic. This is my first time of being excited of a president elected. This is my first time. I have been supporting Buhari from beginning as a person, not because I know he will be able to perform, but I like him. I like him because he's somebody who is straightforward.
Exactly.
You understand? So, yeah, that is on personal ground. But this particular person, I'm excited that he's coming to perform. You see, I don't know him closely. I know Buhari from PTF.
Right.
But this person, I've never done anything close.
It's just your intuition. It's
yes,
just
I have a very
from
high instinct naturally. Anything that is going to be wrong, I'll feel it.
Feel it.
Even if I'm going towards it, I know it's not correct, but this I'm 100% convinced. Let me say 99. So you will say, Ajia, you say 100%.
Ajia, you know why? I'm not surprised because in every situation where 50 people are suffering, 50 people are enjoying. So I'm wondering, are we going to see a holistic development cut across everywhere? Or is it a case of the likes of Ajia are already are on top and are having the
am I on top? I'm still earning my monthly salary. I'm hoping, just like you, hoping to get a better position in future.
Right.
I'm still a civil servant, you know.
However, the president-elect, since you want us to go there, let's go there. The president-elect had the other time announced that he is out for national competence and not national unity. This is coming at the backdrop of him picking a running mate who is of the same faith, and I know it elicited a lot of backlash from Nigerians, and they were seeing lobbying going on in the 10th assembly for who emerges leader, and it's still rallying around, okay, we need to pacify the east, should we go to the south, and this person has to be Christian and all of that. So how can we ensure that these sentiments that do not really define our person is out of the way completely?
Yeah, it's a very tough situation in Nigeria with sentiment, because we have gone with it, we mature in it, and we just need decisions to move forward. We have, all of us, if you make me part of this government, the first thing I will embark on is reorientation. I hope they will give me an agency to handle orientation, because that is what I love doing, and I'm gifted in that. I have the convincing ability. If I handle the orientation side, I'll be able to convince Nigerians to believe in ourselves. Let us trust ourselves for once and forget about religion. Who brought it? We were living before they brought religion.
Religion, exactly.
Before they brought religion to us, we were living as Nigerians. So we can still do it. It's personal to you, your religion. It's personal to me, my religion is my faith, is my belief. It's your faith, it's your belief. So it doesn't have to obstruct our existence as a people. You understand? We need to move forward, move far from this. You see the white that we run to, where is their church? They brought church to, where is their
exactly.
church?
They did not even attend it as much as we.
Oh no, they made it for us. Okay, the Paul that made the Bible, was it part of Jesus' disciple?
No.
Okay, the Genesis that was written before he became a member of this, why did he? So let these people leave us alone to live as people, and let us forge ahead as one people who are ready to move the country forward. The sentiment out of it. We need this sentiment out. So if they give me an orientation agency that is what I want to run.
Okay, that's a good one, because we've also seen younger people, you know, coming up.
Because our people are already having negative.
Exactly.
Almost, I can say 70% of Nigerians are on the negative side right now, including my family, including your family. So we need to work. We need to help to liberate our people from mental slavery.
Exactly.
We are enslaved right now. You see, this advent of computer, Google, everything has...
The social media.
Social media, everything has gone upside down in our country. We need to do something. I'm doing for my family, but you cannot be...
How far can you go in your capacity and in your family?
If you can recommend me for that,
yes, please, by all means, if the president-elect is listening right now, we have Rekiya Ahmedu, foreign affairs expert, who is very passionate about the reorientation of Nigerians, especially so that we curb crisis. We don't see as much ethnic crisis as we've also already seen so far.
People destined by nature to live together and loving each other, loving one another, and we need to do that.
Right.
Yes.
So would you say that if, hypothetically speaking, you emerge as someone who should champion the orientation agency, for instance, let's discuss it. What would be your first step if you want to reach out to everyone, so that we now see each other as one? We now start, you know, having that love for each other and forgetting where you come from. I didn't pick to the Almighty Father where I will be born. You didn't decide where you will be born. It just happened. So that we do not judge people by where they come from, but rather content how would you start this campaign?
Well, if you give me this office,
if I give you this office,
because you are the one giving me this office right now.
Right.
If you give me the orientation agency, I'll first of all relocate to the warring side. I'll take my work from there. The area that I know something has gone wrong with our thinking, I know. And I will not mention, so that it will not look
it's
like...
It's okay to mention Southern Kaduna. There's the Benue. There's several. I can help you with that if you want.
So I need to let them know how we started as a people. I will bring their memory back home. Do you know that if you want to get the country, we have to deal with the younger generation?
Exactly.
Do you know that is where we have problem? For people before us, they were able to do their own in their way and they were fine because they were not under any influence. But right now, our younger generation, the people coming behind us are under influence, and I have to first of all work to make them know that this influence is tearing us apart. And I will let them know when the influence started, through what it started. I'm not mentioning them now because I don't want to preempt them and let them go and prepare and block me when I come up with it. So I will let them know what is tearing us apart, how they brought it to us, how they confuse us with it, and how we arrive at where we are now, fighting ourselves. Way before this period, and how we're supposed to be if we come back to that period.
Exactly.
I'll let them know. But my method, remain with me because
it's
what I realized
action plan.
Yes. I will make it official when the time comes. But you know, when you decide to preempt the society or preempt people with what you want to do, they will prepare and thwart the so process. I keep them with myself for now.
It's exciting. You know, when I hear from women, it's very rarely that you see women putting themselves out there to say, I can serve in this capacity. And that's why you can see that. I'm a
accountant, but I'm not looking for finance office.
Exactly. To tell you that shows that you have
passion for this
country.
Exactly. Yes, the love of this country. As I love this country, I can't tell you the extent. Because I've been to other nations, I've been to other countries, they claim to be all that claim, but I realize that we are good, we are in best position to be better than them.
Exactly.
So it's just for us to put ourselves together and we make the difference. And they will come to us for pilgrimage. They will come to us.
Come here. Exactly. There was such a time Nigeria was a destination for travel.
Travel. Look at everything, because they don't want you to move forward. Everything you have coming up, they have reason to Boko Haram to come and make sure your country is no longer safe. How? This country is very safe, and we're going to make it the best destination to travel, inshallah.
Right. So before I let you go, Ajia Rekiya, our would I say NODG in waiting? NODG in waiting. I would like you to finally go back to the topic we're discussing. And for young people who are in Sudan at the moment and are trapped, and it doesn't seem like there is hope, what would you say to them so that they can?
Well, there is a lot of hope. Today is what? Thursday?
Today is Thursday.
Today is Thursday. They have commenced the operation since yesterday. The first day the bosses left. The people are all around them. Wherever they are, if you are in contact with them, let them move closer to the embassy. The embassy is on duty 24 hours now. The moment we have problem in any country of the world, the embassy will not sleep until they get it done. So they are ready to attend to them. If they are far away, let them get phone, see what they can do to get in touch with the embassy. They should feel safe right now. Government start to work, and they are going to pick them safely to Cairo, and they will leave them from Cairo back to home.
Okay.
But they are moving to Cairo by bus. Let them know, because they can't fly.
Exactly.
In Sudan for now. It's a no-fly zone.
Okay, we were hearing earlier Cairo not giving that much access because of the influx of people. I'm not sure where we are with that.
Our arrangement is diplomatically done. So,
right.
So it's not a personal, I beg you, help me issue. You help me, I help me. Diplomacy. We have a problem today, we need you, you need us next time.
Okay.
So the arrangement is done in a diplomatic manner, so nobody can say no.
So finally,
it's not refugee flag, just going to their country.
Exactly. So finally, do you think Nigerians are learning a lesson from what's happening in Sudan at the moment, knowing that if we do not do that which is right, we could tour the Sudan way? Do you think we are learning, especially our political actors, those who want power by all means? We saw a lot of statements, we heard a lot of statements rather, and saw people acting very desperate in the build-up of the elections, and even in the elections. Do you think this has taught us any lesson whatsoever?
Apart from learning from Sudan, Nigeria has gotten a lesson from civil war. I don't believe anybody else is thinking
more.
no one is thinking of war. In fact, you can't even dream of it in Nigeria. So what we can do is grumbling. In the country, we can only, apart from pockets of anything called Boko Haram or kidnapping, to go into full-fledged war. Nigeria will not think it. Including those politicians that were making all manner of, they will not allow it themselves. Because even if they fly with their immediate family, they still have relations trapped. That will be trapped. Nigeria is too big for war, you know. How do you track, some small country could easily go into war than this country. Still they decide between Lagos and
Abuja, for instance.
Okay, Abuja. What about Borno? Lagos, Borno. It's like two different countries. So we are not thinking it will not happen. No war can happen on this our soil. It's a don't deal with civil war. Ojukwu has told you told me, and I have it reading every day. He said they have experienced, he led it, and he believed now that is no longer necessary.
Exactly, I agree with you, and that's a wonderful place to end the program. Ajia Rekiya Ibrahim Ahmedu, foreign affairs expert. It's been such a delight having you be part of the program as we discuss analyzing Nigeria's rescue effort. Talking about the Sudan crisis. My name is Joy Asonye. It's been wonderful having you join us on the program. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
But this is where we draw the curtains. But we'll be back tomorrow with more. Do have a wonderful evening.